Hi everyone, it's Chris from IELTS Daily, and today we have a very special guest on the show. We have Layla from Azerbaijan, who is going to be doing a practice mock exam session where she's going to answer questions which have appeared in the test, and we're going to talk about Layla's experience with the test as well. Wonderful. So we have Layla on the show today. Layla, welcome.
Hi, Chris. Nice
Nice,
to see you.
nice to see you too. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Azerbaijan, a small
Oh,
country to the west of the Caspian Sea.
fabulous. And I know where Azerbaijan is, but some people maybe who are watching don't have any idea where the Caspian Sea is. So are there any other countries that are close by?
Yeah. It's neighboring with Russia to the north, Georgia, Turkey, Iran. So to
Wonderful.
the east, it's washed by the Caspian Sea.
I've heard that Azerbaijan is a little bit like a melting pot of different cultures, different
Yeah.
foods, different languages. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. In my country, quite it's in fact it's a very hospitable like country because people from diverse backgrounds and different cultures are living here together. So I can say it's a multicultural country, in fact, because including different nationalities, everyone can visit and stay there. So
Wonderful. And we're going to have a video where you're going to do a practice session. So in the description section below, you will see there are different sections in the video and you can skip forward to those sections. What I'll do is we'll have the full test like you would in the real exam. I won't give you any feedback after each section. We'll just continue with all the questions and then we'll talk about your feedback at the end. But before we start, I just want to hear a little bit about your experience on the test because you've taken the test and you wrote to us and you told us your score and I was super impressed. So tell us about your experience.
in fact, the first, like my experience with IELTS began 2 years ago when I had this part and my score was 7.5. In fact, I didn't do any special preparation for this since I'm a teacher. So I was in this field, but one of my friends advised me to take it, and she was constantly saying, why don't you take the IELTS? So you do everything well. Like, just I didn't need that. Therefore, I didn't feel the necessity of having the IELTS. But then I said, why not? First, of course, I underestimated my skills and I was unhappy with what I got. But later on, when I saw all the people wishing to score above 7, I thought, oh, Leila, you're great. In fact, from the very first try, you've got 7.5. So this year, I decided I should have it improved. So I had my exam in May. In May, yes. So my score was 8 this time.
Wonderful.
Uh, so glad I have achieved it. So I'm aiming for the higher results in the
Great.
future, of
8
course.
is such a good at speaking result anyway. You got 8 in speaking, right?
8.5 in speaking. Overall is 8.
8.5 in speaking. That is
Yeah.
incredible.
I was glad. Yeah. I wasn't expecting this. In fact, although my speaking 2 years ago it was 8, I thought I probably would progress a little. So 8 would be like okay for me. Then I had some mock exams with other teachers, and so my self-confidence like increased a lot after this.
That's so good. And it's so good. And when we're learning, when we're on this learning journey, I always encourage students to share kind of their tips, their advice, and maybe even some resources. Because I know that IELTS Daily is not the only place that people will come. So, which other sites did you use? What resources did you find useful? And what tips would you give?
I can say I've watched almost all of your videos. I'm really thankful for sharing, especially for the last time I watched your reading tips. So I was meaning to do it in order to try, I'm sure, because of the feedback. So everyone was glad it worked out. I'm sure that it will work on me as well. Like I usually worked with books, and they were like plenty of them. I'm afraid I can't name all of them now, but I've watched almost everything. So including films, I listen to podcasts, movies, episodes, like all of the things that like TV shows are my favorites. So I think they have contributed a lot.
Yeah, really, really impressive. And you said you're a teacher. Do you teach English to students in Azerbaijan?
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yes,
What
I'm
levels and
teaching.
ages?
They are different. I can say that I have students from all different like age groups and levels.
And
So
they're going
it's
to
a
be
little bit challenging at the beginning, since I've been working for the last, I can say, around 10 years. So for the beginning, it was a little bit challenging because I wasn't used to it. So then I realized I was really good at this and kept doing that. So I really find it rewarding. I
and
love
all your
teaching.
students are going to be so impressed and so happy to see you online sharing your
I
skills
hope
and your
so.
knowledge. I hope to see some of them writing in the comments below.
Probably, I hope so. That's why
Well,
I wanted to take part in this mock exam, because I've seen many people from different countries doing mock exams and the examiners giving them feedback. So I thought, why not a person from my country? Like, people need to see different candidates giving their ideas. So they maybe I would somehow contribute, or maybe some people will benefit from the ideas or words I would say. So it would be very good for me.
you're absolutely right, because lots of different countries and languages have their own little idiosyncrasies where they make the same mistakes as each other because of influence from the language. So if there's anything that maybe comes from your language, then I'll try and point them out today. Um,
Thank you.
I'm afraid it's time to start the test. Are you nervous?
A little bit, but not so much.
Good. Not as nervous as the real test, right?
uh, in fact, I was a little nervous. I was late for the speaking part.
Oh
Can you
no.
imagine? I was stuck in the traffic jam. I was rushing to the building. When I got there, there was about 5 minutes before the exam began. So I was asking the girl to let me go without this formal. So I had to run, and I entered the office 2 minutes before the exam. So you can imagine my anxiety. But
Gosh,
thankfully,
gosh.
my examiner was really friendly. I'm so thankful. So he created this friendly environment so I could express my ideas freely.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay, we should start the test. And obviously, the questions in this test are designed to simulate the real test. They're not always exactly the same. We try to use topics and themes that have appeared in the real exam. In the test, you will have no access to your phone, no access to any help, but you will have a pen and paper for part 2, if you remember that part. So we're going to start with part 1, and we're going to talk about you. Do you work or study?
I'm a teacher. I've been working as a teacher for the last 10 years, and I really love my job. I think it's really rewarding to encourage other people to find their ways in their future. So I think I wouldn't be able to do another kind of job apart from teaching.
Thanks. So you enjoy what you do, right?
Yes, a lot. Since my early childhood, I was also helping my teachers when they were instructing something, when they had problems making the uh, other weaker students understand. They were asking me to help them. Probably they had seen my ability to teach from early ages.
Do you want to be a teacher in the future?
In fact, I've become a teacher and I consider myself really lucky. And, the fact when I see someone learning, although the process itself sometimes a little bit tough and challenging, but when you see the result of your work, which you have been putting a lot of effort throughout the whole period, the last thing you see is that greater result. So you are able to forget everything that all of the challenges can be easily forgotten in the end.
I'd like to move on to the topic of sleep. Are you a morning person?
No, actually, I'm totally a night owl. I have never been an early bird because since when I was a child, I remember my mom waking me up early in the morning. You have to go to school, go get up and get prepared. So I hated getting up early. I always did my homework late at night, and nowadays this is the same. I do my work usually at the night time. So I keep my morning for sleep.
Do you find it easy to fall asleep at night?
Not actually, since I am tired in the end of the day because my schedule is really hectic. So there are times when I struggle, and this time I prefer reading something or watching. So this helps me to get fall asleep.
So, are there any other methods that you might use if you want to try and fall asleep?
Not particularly the one I can think of. As I have mentioned, reading helps me, listening or watching something helps me. Sometimes one of my friends, in fact, advised me to count from 1 to 100 in order to fall asleep, but I don't think it works. Probably it can. To be honest, I've never tried this.
Now, let's move on to the topic of snacks. How often do you eat snacks?
I eat snacks a lot, especially if I'm at home during the day. So I run to the kitchen. I want to find something, but since I'm trying to watch my diet and since I don't want to get heavier, so I try to watch my diet. But I love eating snacks, especially before, like in the nighttime. Sometimes I try to eat, and sometimes I can't stop myself from eating because I see that it's unhealthy. But there are times that I can't say no.
What was your favourite snack as a child?
In fact, my favorite snack was ice cream. I've always loved ice cream, and especially with vanilla flavor. And my dad used to buy me ice cream almost every day in summer, and my mom used to complain about it because I had problems with my throat. So I usually got ill because of that. But my dad loved me so much, so he didn't pay attention to this. He couldn't
Which,
say to me no.
which do you prefer, sweet or savoury snacks?
Maybe you won't believe, but I think both of them. When I was a child, I remember I was eating a lot of sweets, especially chocolate. My mom used to hide all of the chocolate which was at home because I could eat a lot. Really, you can't imagine. It was a lot. So after eating sweets, I used to eat something salty. I don't know, some pickles or something. Now I think how weird it was. I don't know. But nowadays, I prefer more savory things.
In the next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic and I would like you to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. You'll have 1 minute to think about what you want to say, and I'll give you a pencil and some paper to make notes if you want. Is that clear?
Yes.
You have your pencil and paper, and your topic is coming up. Thank you. Now I'd like you to talk about a time when someone encouraged you to do something. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. You can start speaking now, please.
So, first of all, encouragement is quite vital since this is like a drive for a person to do something. There are sometimes cases when people do not fully realize what they are able. So if someone tries to motivate the other one, it might have a crucial effect in their lives, probably in different spheres of their lives. So the time when I got encouragement from another person was my friend. In fact, she is my closest friend. 2 years ago, she advised me to take the IELTS exam. But before that, I wasn't even thinking of that. She is my friend. I have known her for about 7 or 8 years. She's quite outgoing and friendly, really an extrovert, I can say. Um, so why did she do that? In fact, we've been working together. She is also an English teacher. She advised me to take the IELTS exam, although I wasn't pretty sure. She helped me to do all of the parts, and she encouraged me with speaking. She helped me a lot to prepare for that. And in the end, when I got my results, I was over the moon because I wouldn't believe that it could happen. So this boosted my self-confidence a lot. This helped me to be aware of my abilities and skills, and I better understood and realized that what I was able to do. So I'm really thankful to her. I think everyone should have a
Thank you.
friend like her.
I want to stay on the topic of encouragement and reaching goals. In what ways can people show encouragement to others?
You know, encouragement can be physically, maybe some like I can say it more precisely. It's usually something you do mentally. For example, since I'm a teacher, I'm usually encouraging my students despite of their mistakes. So I try to make them understand it's normal. It's we learn from them, and encouraging to learn further. So or maybe encouragement can be financially, probably when people are like getting their salary, probably this is kind of encouragement and motivation as well.
Thank you. Is it important for people to remain positive even when something's not going quite to plan?
Absolutely, yes, because staying positive, like it affects your life. I would say that it's not only affecting your one specific area of your life, but uh, it's about everything you do during the day. It affects your mood, your work, your way of thinking. The things that you do is like encouragement, and especially the being positive is like an origin where you take, or like a source where you take everything. So it's very important. For the last 2 years I've learned how to be more positive and not to focus on these trivial things, which can sometimes be
Do you have any
discouraging.
do you have any examples of when you've had to do that?
Staying positive. There are plenty of things that happen, but if I have to say one, um, I remember when I was having trials for the IELTS. There were times when I got 7 overall or 8. So I was devastated. Sometimes I was so upset that I didn't want to continue. But then I tried to work on myself, and I said, why not? So everyone learns from the mistakes, and in order to identify your weak points and your strongest points, you need to experience something. And what the experience gives is like the way it's paving the way for you in your future. So I was trying to stick more to the positive sides and
And
not to
how
focus on the negative.
and how do people deal with stressful situations?
The way of dealing with stressful situations for different people might be various. In fact, since people are different, they have like their moods are different, their characteristic features, their traits are different. So one thing doesn't work for some people. For example, they might go shopping in order to like relax, and for some people it's like being in the nature. They might like feel themselves as a part of the nature. Some people listen to music, some people draw. The way that I try is coloring mandala. it's really peaceful. When I'm stressed out, I just print a piece of pattern and I start coloring it. It helps me
Thanks.
a lot.
And is it important to be honest, even if it might hurt somebody else's feelings?
It's about telling white lies. I think when it comes to saying something which can hurt other people's feeling, like something trivial, when your mom has cooked something and you don't want to hurt her or upset her, you can say that, yes, it was great. Or if your friend has bought something for you, in fact, you don't like it, but it would be kind of impolite to say that, no, I don't like it. So this kind of things are really acceptable for me. But when it comes to serious matters, such as evaluating something or helping other people, I consider it really important, since your advice or your guidance might help another person. So you need to be really trustworthy and you need to be honest in order to help.
That is the end of the IELTS Daily Practice exam. Thank you, Layla. How was
Thank
that for you? You can breathe a sigh of relief.
you. Yes.
How was that for you?
Great. In fact, I was a little bit nervous in the beginning, but now I felt like I could go on more.
Wonderful. So in your test, you had a friendly examiner, and that always helps to boost your confidence in the test. I hear many stories about people who have very stern and very serious examiners. Have you heard that as well?
Yeah. A couple of times from my friends, I've heard that some of the examiners, they don't show any emotions, no feelings. They just ask you questions. So you might be confused. So I was preparing for everything. Like I was ready to face any situation that I would encounter. But thankfully, it was great. And in both cases, when I took my speakings, none of the examiners was serious or strict. They were both friendly.
Great. Would you like to hear some feedback on your test?
Of course, it would be great.
Fantastic. Good. So we're going to go step by step, question by question, and we'll try to remember what we talked about. So the first part was about you, about your your career. I loved some of the language that you used. It was really, really top quality. You've obviously understood that when you have to use idiomatic expressions, you have to use them correctly. And the first couple that you had during your speech, it was in the second question when we talked about early mornings, and you talked about being a night owl and an early bird. Those two pieces of language are really high level words and phrases. Would you like to explain what they both mean?
Yes, early bird is a person who is more active in the morning and likes to get up and bright and cheerful in the morning, which I'm not. And the night owl is a kind of person like me who likes to stay up late and perform their tasks more by the evening.
Great. I'm just going to post a word for you, and you almost mispronounced it, and I'm going to pop it so that you can see it. Can you tell the students how to pronounce this word?
Cool.
Not exactly. I think that's what you said during the test. This word is a homophone of this word. Let me give you this word as well.
It's a whole, right?
It's
Whole.
whole and
Yeah.
whole. So those two words are
Whole.
said the same way, whole and whole. And an examiner would probably pick up on just that tiny mistake. And one of the hardest things about the IELTS test is that at the really high level, at the band 9 level, I feel, there's a disproportionate level of critique. If you want to get a band 9 level, they are looking for absolute perfection across those 4 components. And I don't think that's very fair, to be honest, because when you go further down, they give you much more leeway, they give you much more opportunity to make more and more mistakes. So at a band 9 level, they are almost expecting you to make no mistakes. You can make occasional slips, and this would probably be a pronunciation slip that they would overlook. And that's why when you did the test, you came out with 8.5. That's an incredible mark, because you may score in the test 9,998 in one of the components. And because you got 8 in one component, that brings you down from 9 to 8.5. So just one small mistake can really have a big impact. So the word whole, I'm going to overlook that one today, but just be aware in the future. You had incredible flexibility in terms of the complexity of your grammar. You used a range of different complex sentences, and I'll give you some as we go along. So you used when sentences, which sentences, if sentences. You used gerund clauses where you use the gerund form, the ing form, the doing or seeing or playing. Loads of different types of sentences, which was really, really nice. For example, you said, I hated getting up early. That's a complex sentence because you used the gerund form within there, but it's also a phrasal verb that you've used, which is to get up early. Really nice. You talked later, there's one tiny mistake that I noticed, and you sometimes said it correctly, sometimes didn't say it correctly, and it's the word especially. So there's a difference between the word specially and especially. And if you go back and watch your speech again, you may notice that occasionally you almost didn't say the especially. So especially. Good. Really, really, really great elaboration on your answers. You extended your answers. You had no pauses. Your fluency was fantastic. So right at this moment, at the end of part 1, I was looking really favourably on your test. You were at a band 9 for all sections. You hadn't made any real significant mistakes. So you were at a band 9 for part 1. Then we went into part 2, and the part 2 was a question about encouragement and a time when somebody has encouraged you. You talked about your friend who encouraged you to take the IELTS test, right?
Yes.
Wonderful. So you, again, amazing extension of your answers, amazing fluency, super, super nice. And if any of the students who are watching this agree that Layla's fluency was wonderful, please write your ideas in the comments and talk about what you liked. There were a couple of areas that you struggled with. You said, and if you go back and listen to it again, it's a very common mistake with vital. You almost said vital with a w, a W sound. Can you say vital for me?
Vital. Like
Much
it
better.
has to touch my upper teeth. I know that, but
It
I
is
was
exactly
focusing
true.
too much on my fluency and ideas sometimes. Yeah.
And that's okay. And I don't think the examiner would have picked it up in it, but that's just for your reference. I love the language you used, which was, you were over the moon, outgoing and friendly in different spheres of their lives. Different spheres of their lives. What wonderful language you used there. One minor mistake here, which was, I wasn't pretty sure. When we use the negative form of pretty sure, in fact, we probably would never use pretty sure in the negative form. You would probably say, I am pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that he's coming tomorrow. If you're using it in the negative, we don't usually say pretty. We normally say quite. I'm not quite sure. I wasn't quite sure. So we don't normally use pretty when using the negative.
Okay.
You also said, I wouldn't believe it would happen. That's a mistake. Why?
I couldn't believe.
Correct. I couldn't believe it would happen. And so at this point at the end of part 2, I was starting to notice just a couple of minor errors slipping through in terms of language and grammar. And I think a really strict examiner, and When we say strict examiner, I'm saying somebody who strictly interprets the band descriptors. They look at the band descriptors marking criteria and they say, yes, there's a mistake here, so I'm going to have to take her down to a band 8. So you may slip to a band 8 in either lexical resource or grammatical range and accuracy. One of those two, you may slip to a band 8. And that is a real shame because it takes your score from a 9 to an 8.5, which is it's a really frustrating part because they are so critical. Then we move on to part 3. Again, really, really great discussion and extension of your answers. You did make another mistake here and you are going to kick yourself. Because you said despite of their mistake.
Oh.
What's the correct way to say that?
Let me say that correctly. Despite of needs a noun after that.
No, sorry. Despite needs a noun. In spite of needs the of. Yeah? So we have the of with in spite of. Do you speak only Azerbaijani or do you speak Russian as well?
No, I speak Russian. I can speak some Turkish. And
Okay.
I've learned French, like I'm not using it for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I've learned some Italian, some German, but they are like elementary.
So I don't know if you know, but I speak Russian as well. Maybe you knew that, maybe you didn't know that. So I know that Nesmatria na to что means in spite of or despite, right?
Yes.
Yes. And you also made the same kind of Russian influence mistake when you said, let me see later, they feel themselves as part of nature.
This is what I really make my students understand, that you should never say I feel myself. Children, it's not correct. Don't compare English. Yes, like really, in Azerbaijani, it's the same. You need to say that word, myself, in Azerbaijani, but not in English. I don't know. We will work on this.
Yeah. So you can just say, I feel part of nature, rather than I feel myself as part of nature. And I don't know if an examiner would pick up on that, but I noticed it because of my Russian knowledge. And I know that if I want to talk about feeling, I have to use my feel myself. But otherwise, Leila, I loved your speaking, and I hope that the other students took away so much that they can learn. You know, you as an English teacher you have demonstrated what a kind of a wonderful range of language you could include. You give advice to your students that in your class that you have to read as much as possible, you have to practice as much as possible. In cases where you maybe don't have anybody who's a native English speaker to practice with, what would be your advice?
So my advice would be reading as much as we have said, but not being able to find a native speaker is not something that we can face nowadays. You know, thanks to technology, we can find friends throughout like the world. Like they can download some apps and chat with and find friends, and they might watch. You know, I have done this a lot. I was watching any kind of video and I was pausing it and I was repeating it, like copying the intonation. Sometimes I switched it to the third person singular, and it had helped me before. Like in the past, when I was just starting, I did a lot. So I didn't specifically take any English classes. Apart from entrance exams to the university, I never had an English teacher who would help me. Like I did everything on my own. So I think that everyone who wants.
What incredible advice. I mean, I think that is really testament, and that's a real example that like Leila says, don't be discouraged. You have to, and let's be honest, Leila, it's not an easy feat, right? It's not an easy task to get to where you've got to today.
Yeah, it's not easy. That has never been easy, but I never had the motivation, like it's not that I am a teacher and that's why I'm learning English. This is, I cannot really imagine myself without English. Like in the morning, I have to read something in English on social media. I don't prefer to follow people, what they eat, what they do. I'm trying to focus on more of the language, something informative which would help me. And I'm trying to speak as much with people who can speak English in order to keep myself, like my language, active.
One
So
of one of my
it's
favorite
hard
Russian
work.
phrases. I was just going to say one of my favorite Russian phrases is, and maybe you can translate this. Kamu shas lегко. What does that mean?
uh, in English.
Yeah.
So nobody, it's not, it has never been easy.
Good. Nobody has an easy life, right? And you can look at everybody and say, everybody has difficulties in their life, and so we all face difficulties, and we all have to kind of persevere, move forward, and be encouraging to others. I think that's another really important point, that if there's any students in here who want to encourage you to do better and me to do better, and that's what we have to do. We have to encourage each other, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely true, because I'm always saying to my students that I wish, really, I'm not exaggerating my abilities, I'm not showing off my abilities, just I'm always saying I wish I had a teacher like me in the past who would constantly encourage me. They did a lot, of course. I'm really thankful to them. But as a part of my lesson, I think that at least 5 minutes of my lesson I should use for their encouragement. So, they get more demotivated a lot. When they face difficulties, they just give up. They say that, no, it's not my cup of tea or something. But I try to explain to them that life, like we said, life has never been easy for anyone, and the English the same. So the main thing that we have to keep in mind is that whatever happens, or whenever we feel like down, or we feel like we can't go on anymore, we have to see some positive sides and stick to that tiny piece of thing in order to get us.
What an amazing philosophy, and that brings the lesson to a wonderful positive close. And we should all the students and myself from IELTS Daily, we should extend our thanks to you for coming along and sharing your wonderful knowledge, experience, and stories. And we hope to maybe see you again in the future, and you can come back. And if you have any other nuggets, pieces of information that you want to share with us, we would always welcome your valuable input. So thank you, Layla.
Thank you for having me.
Take care, and we'll see you soon. And again, students, if you liked what you have watched, please give this video a like and a thumbs up. We have so many videos which are available to help you for free on YouTube. Come along and watch them. Take pieces of information, learn them, write them down, practice them. But also, the most important thing is learn by doing things that you enjoy. So maybe IELTS Daily videos, you don't enjoy them. So go and watch a series, read a book that you do enjoy, and that will really help you. So I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye for now.